Hello everyone and welcome to another Looker Studio tutorial. Today we're going to learn how to create a Looker Studio report using data from Google Sheets. We're going to go straight to the point. Before we do that, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps tremendously to create new content, so thank you very much in advance. And let's get started. So step number one, we need to have a Google Sheets document with our data. A couple of things here. If you have dates in your Google Sheets, make sure they are formatted as a date. So you need to basically click on format. You need to go to number here and format them as a date. And you need to verify that they are indeed dates. You need to click. If you click, you double click and you see the calendar. This is a date. Now, ideally, I wouldn't include metrics that are ratios or let's say cost per click, cost per acquisition. All of these calculated metrics, I would calculate them in Looker Studio. I'm going to show you how this can be done. Now, once we have our data here in Google Sheets, we're going to go to Looker Studio. We're going to create a blank report. We're going to start from scratch. And here we are going to select Google Sheets as the data source. So we are going to select here Google Sheets. We need to find our Google Sheet. So the name of your Google Sheet, in this case, is Meta Ads Report. You're going to select it here and you're going to select the worksheet that you want to insert in Looker Studio. So we're going to say add, and that's it. Now we connected basically Looker Studio with Google Sheets and we are ready to get started with building our report. Now, anything that is in here in Google Sheets, we can actually import in Looker Studio. So let's start by something simple. So let's say we are going to add some scorecards. And in these scorecards, we're going to have these metrics, right? So results, reads, clicks, link clicks, post saves, and so forth. So I'm going to add a couple of scorecards first. I'm going to do it quickly by just copy pasting them. And once we have here a couple of scorecards, so let's say we have all these scorecards here, I'm going to format them nice and neatly in the middle of the screen. We are going to select the first one. We're going to go on the right hand side under the setup column. We're going to click here under metric and we're going to select the metric that we want to showcase. So let's start maybe with reads, and then the second one we are going to select maybe results, and then the third one maybe we're going to have, let's say, link clicks, and then this one maybe we're going to have the post saves. And this one, maybe, let's say we're going to have the post shares. And let's say now what I told you before, we want to create some ratios, or we want to create, let's say, cost per result and so forth. Let me click on the last one and maybe add also the amount spent. And let's start by calculating a metric, which is the cost per result. So I'm going to select this scorecard. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the right-hand side under data, and this is where we're going to create this calculated field. So we are going to click on add a field. We're going to say add the calculated field. We are going to name this, let's say, cost per result. And here we're going to insert the formula. So basically amount spent divided by results. And we are going to save, and that's it basically. So now we created basically a calculated field which is called cost per result, which means that we can actually find it here in the list of metrics and we can include it in our report. Now we want the amount spent and the cost per result to be in euros in this case. So I'm going to select maybe the cost per result first. We're going to click here on the pen. We're going to say the currency here is euro. We're going to do the same here under amount spent. So we're going to click it. We're going to say the currency here is also, let's say, euro. And let's also create another calculated field here, which is going to be the click-through rate. Now, because we have date here in the Google Sheets, when we go here to data and we click on add a field, add calculated field, and we calculate the click-through rate, we are not going to say, in this case, let's actually say, for example, link clicks divided by reads. Normally it's clicks divided by impressions, but we don't have impressions here. We're not going to say simply, let's say, link clicks divided by reads. We're going to say sum of link clicks divided by the sum of reads. This is because we have a date range in our data and we want the system to summarize everything and then do the calculation, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to save here. And now we can select the click-through rate. And now the click-through rate, we want it to be in percentage. So we're going to click here the pen symbol. We're going to change number to percentage. And that's it, basically. That's our click-through rate. So now we transfer top level data here. Let's actually start building the entire report. So let's click on insert and let's add maybe a vertical bar chart, a column chart here. And let's say here that we want to have the reads by month. So I'm going to go on the right-hand side. I'm going to change the dimension here to date. The dates here are by month. So these dates here are by month by default. Then I'm going to go under metric and select reads. And then I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to select sort here. Under sort, I'm going to click on reads. And I'm going to say date in ascending order. So we have the data nice and neat from January all the way to October. And if you want to show the data labels, you're going to click on style. Let's say here that we want up to 12 bars, which are the months of the year in this vertical bar chart. We are going to toggle this on, so data labels, and now we have our data labels showing. So let's create a combo chart now. So let's say I want to have results and cost per result in a combo chart. I'm going to click on insert. I'm going to select combo chart. I'm going to format it here a little bit nicely. The dimension here is the date. The first metric is going to be results. The second metric is the one that we created just a minute ago, cost per result. We're going to scroll down. We're going to say again that this is going to be by date chart in ascending order. And now what I want is the results to be a column and the cost per result to be a line. So I'm going to go to style. I'm going to say that series 1, which is the result, is going to be a bar. And this is going to be calculated on the left axis. And I'm going to say that series 2, which is the cost per result, is going to be calculated on the right axis and it's going to be a line. And that's it. And if I want, I can also show the data labels here for both my metrics. And once again, if I want the cost per result to be in euro, I'm going to click here the pen symbol. I'm going to say this is going to be currency and the currency is going to be euro. So let's say now that we want to add a table, right? So we want to transfer the data that we have here in Google Sheets and we want to aggregate everything by campaign name. How are we going to do this? First of all, we ran out of space. So we need to go here, click page, current page settings. We're going to go to style. We're going to say 2 and 1,000 half pixels. So now we have a lot more room to play. We're going to click on insert. We are going to say basically here, table. We're going to select table. We're going to drop it here. Let's make it bigger also, full width. And here I'm going to go to the setup column. I'm going to change the dimension to campaign name. And I'm going to insert my metric. So let's say, for example, results. Let's also add, for example, cost per result. Let's add also in the link clicks. Let's add maybe also, let's say, the click-through rate that we created. Let's also add the amount spent, right? So now we have a table here, which is basically the aggregation of our campaign performance, right? So we don't need to do a pivot table and summarize the data in Google Sheets. Looker Studio is going to do this for us. And let's say now I want to have a grand total basically row here, so I can calculate the sum of reads, results, and everything that we have here in the table. I'm going to go to the setup column. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find show summary row. I'm going to toggle this on. And now we have also a summary row here. Now let's do one more thing that is going to be extremely useful. So let's say I want to see only the data for the last 2 months, 1 month, 3 weeks, 8 weeks. It doesn't matter. So we are going to click on insert. We are going to add a date range control. We're going to drop it here. And because we have a date basically in our data, if I come here and I say, for example, let me see only data from 16 July, for example, to maybe 30 September, the system will automatically refresh my data, right? So now with the date range control, we have a report basically where we can actually click on the date range and we can see only the performance for specific dates. What else can we do? Let's click on insert and let's add a drop-down list here. So this is a filter and let's change the control field from the right-hand side and let's actually call this campaign name. The metric here is going to be based on, let's say, reads when we open the filter. So now here we can open this filter, we can select any campaign, let's say this one, for example, here, and the system will narrow down only all the results of this campaign. So this is a filter by campaign. If you have more columns here, more dimensions, you can add even more filters. And let's do two more things that are quite useful. So let's add a little bit of text here, and this is going to be the header of our report. So I'm going to call it test Google Sheets report. So make sure you don't misspell it like me. So we're going to grab the text here. We're going to make everything bigger, maybe align it in the middle. And something very important now. Let's say that I'm going to come here and I'm going to add more data. So I'm just going to take, for example, these columns. Let's say that we added more data, and let's say we added more data for, let's say, November. So these data are, let's say, for November, and maybe these data are for December, let's say here, right? So I'm just going to include some random dates. So now that I refreshed my Google Sheets, I can come here to my Looker Studio. I can click here on more options on the top right-hand side. I can say refresh data. And when I refresh data, now you can see that if I extend my dates to, let's say, December 2025, then the new months, November and December, are going to be added basically in my report. So you can see here November and December. So every time you refresh the data in Google Sheets, you need to come here, you need to basically hit on refresh data. The system will do this automatically. It will pick up the data automatically. But if you want this to happen on the spot, let's say you update the data now and you want everything to reflect now, you need to click here and you need to refresh the data. We can also give a name to our report. So we can actually call it test Google Sheets report. And from here, you can share basically the link to your report. You can download everything as PDF. You can basically share this report with different people. You have a Looker Studio report that is feeding from Google Sheets data. This is the point here. That's it for today. I hope you found everything useful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you want to work with me, you can find links in the video description. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day in any time zone. Bye, everyone.